Hi, my name is Wojciech Osypiuk, and for those who don't know me that well, I'm the chairman of the so-called Officers Club here in our military training center, and I think and I hope this is going to be not the first, only, and not the last episode in which we see ourselves online due to the pandemic situation that is in our country. We've decided here in the club and in our training center that the club will go online for some time at least, and therefore our activities of our sections regarding photography, film, music, tourism, arts and English, as you can hear, are going to be transmitted through online meetings. So why conversations in English? Well, mostly monologue at the time, because we will be seeing ourselves only online. In the future, hopefully, if anybody would like to join such free, of course, classes, they will have the chance to do so on various levels of the military English. So basically the whole meeting is called Military English Made Easy. Why military English as such? First of all, some of you may already have some levels of English. Some of you may want to make some advances for the future from one level to another, and maybe this will be helpful. And some of you may be passing exams in military English in the future. So this kind of meeting will be useful to all parties. I myself will be trying to pass the level 4 exam in November. Therefore, I'm trying to speak as much English as possible, just to get the hang of it more easily. Some of you may have, as I said, different levels of English, 1, 2 and 3 already, but having a certificate is not the same as being able to speak fluent and free English on a daily basis. So basically, at the very beginning of our meetings, like today's episode, will be mostly about what can you do to actually better yourself in understanding the language. First of all, if you're not fluent in it, if you haven't been learning it long enough, you have trouble thinking in English. So basically what you have to start training is thinking in English as well, because some of you may be able to speak English very well, but still you'll be thinking in Polish. So you'll have to think about what you have to say in Polish first and then translate it in your head into English. Therefore, the time of speaking and the fluency is a bit on a lower level than the people who actually think in English and speak in English at the same time. But this, of course, will have to come in time. It doesn't happen on a like just after one night or after one day of practicing it. You have to practice every single day. Second of all, how to practice. The best and the easiest way to achieve it is to use English sites, English TV, English radio, online radio, of course, English newspapers, English books on a everyday basis. It's very easy to achieve in the times that we live in. It was a bit more difficult for me at the end of the 80s when I started, and at the beginning of the 90s when it was still not widely possible to, for example, watch English TV, or for example there was no internet, so basically this was out. You learned English through first few English-speaking channels like the BBC, CNN, Cartoon Network, as a child of course. Sometimes through English books if you learned it in school or privately, and of course not by radio and by internet as I said, but you could learn it from computer games. Computer games were not translated into Polish. There was no dubbing whatsoever, so therefore it was a bit easier. But this was the daily basis. Now, since you have the internet, if you use foreign sites that are written in English, don't translate them. Just try to use the English original site. The other thing, online radios. If you're sitting in your office at work, or you have the possibility to tune in through your mobile application, just put any kind of radio station on that's transmitting in English. Of course, I don't mean any kind of radio station that transmits only music. It has to be talk shows, it has to be news, it has to be articles spoken by lecturers and so on. Even if you don't know the meaning of some words, or they provide different levels of difficulty because they can be talk shows that are highly advanced. Even for me, I don't know every single word in the English language. I don't know a lot of meanings. So if I don't know it and I'm interested in finding out, I just go on even on an online dictionary, or a dictionary if you have one as a book at home, and just check the meaning of it. Write it down, memorize it, and then you have the ability and possibility to use it for the future. Speaking in terms of dictionaries, the first thing, because we'll try to, since it's online, so I'm trying to do it for every single one that's in our military base or in any other Polish military base, if somebody's watching through YouTube, possibly. So the first thing is that we will try to do it for everybody. So from level 4 all the way to level 1, or the other way around, doesn't matter. So there will be some very basics and there will be some advanced things. Every single time, even if I'll try to explain a single word or a sentence or abbreviation or shortcut or whatever, it will be spoken in English only. This will try to force you and help you understand English much quicker. When I learned at school, the teachers used to say a lot of the definitions in Polish and then they translated into English. Of course, this is one of the ways. But I learned also on the same time, I had the possibility to learn privately, and on private conversations there was only English. If I didn't know something, that was my problem. I had to catch up very quickly. So, this helped. And of course, time abroad helped as well. I used to live almost 4.5 years or 4 years in Scotland, in Edinburgh. So, apart from English, the other thing was dialect. Different parts of Scotland, different dialects. So, more or less, I got the hang of it from time to time. But to get to this level that I am now, having all the civilian certificates and maybe achieving a military one, took me almost 32 years. I've been learning since I was in first grade in a Polish school. So it takes a lot of time and a lot of practice. I use English on a daily basis. Internet used daily by most of us. TV not so often, but if I watch films, I watch them in English without subtitles, or if I'm taking it easy, I watch it with subtitles, of course English subtitles. English books, newspapers not so often at the moment because everything is on the internet, radios from time to time, and of course music. Listening, since I'm listening mostly to foreign bands, not Polish ones, just a few of them. So, since I was talking about the basics just a while ago, every single class in every single language that is learned all over the world, doesn't matter if it's Mandarin, if it's English, Scandinavian, Croatian, Welsh, or Spanish, they all start with the alphabet. But of course, I would be stupid enough to teach you the English alphabet because everybody knows it. But we will try to learn the military alphabet. Because as you know, NATO operates with not even codes, but they operate with a military alphabet for shortcuts, for different kind of reasons. We don't use our one in Poland because there's a lot of letters like Xi, Ji, Chi, Eń and so on. For our NATO counterparts it would be very difficult to understand. Therefore we use the NATO one, since we are over 20 years in NATO now. So, the easiest way to, I will try to show you of course so you can see and memorize it, but the easiest way to do, if you can also go online, you can check out the page, I think it's called Military Benefits, or Military Benefit, or just write in Google military alphabet or NATO alphabet, and you'll have one page that has every single one of these letters together, of course, with their meaning and why it's associated with that. And the way is to just read it time and time again. Of course, not only A, B, C, D and so on, but also A as alpha, B, and of course like that. Also, another way to memorize it, if for example you have short sentences, you have short things to read, like your name and surname or your address, and just spell it with the military alphabet meaning. So, for example, if you tried to spell something simple, if you try to spell the word cat, it would be Charlie Alpha Tango, and other examples like that, of course. So, the first one is A, obviously. A is for alpha. Sorry if it, twists from time to time, but I'll try to keep it steady on in vertical position. B is for Bravo. C is for Charlie. D is for Delta. E is for Echo. F is for Foxtrot. G is for Golf. H is for Hotel. I is for India. J is for Juliet. K is for Kilo. L is for Lima. M is for Mike. N is for November. Ooh, sorry. O is for Oscar. P is for Papa. Q is for Quebec. Of course, Q is a letter that we don't have in our Polish alphabet. R is for Romeo, since we had Juliet, we also need a Romeo. S is for Sierra. T is for Tango. U is for Uniform. Come on. To better that for the future. V is for Victor. I don't know why not Victory, but V for Victor. W for Whiskey, not whiskey, whiskey, because that's what mostly the Americans drink. They don't drink a whiskey like a whiskey from Scotland, they drink whiskey, which is a bit different type, so, but that's just like beside the point. So W for whiskey, X for X-ray, we don't have X as well in our alphabet. Y is for Yankee. And then last but not least, Z is for Zulu. So the military alphabet in short version. As I say, go on any kind of single website, download it, have just in a single sheet, memorize it, and it will make life easier for some, of course, if you need to use it. The other thing I want to talk about in this short episode, the first one, is about the military English exams. Obviously, you might or might not know that they are divided into separate parts. Some of them happen over 2 days, like the level 4 exams. Some of them are one-day exams, depending on the level. So, most of all, you have to remember that there is no such thing as a grammar exercise during the exam, a written grammar exercises during the exam, like in the civilian one. So, for example, the one that happens during the CPE exam or CAE in the British Council or FCE or whatever. So, you get grammar in the sentences or in writing as such. So you have to know, of course, obviously, every single grammar rule there is, but you don't need to show it exactly in the sentences. Writing as such is mostly writing about some topics. Presentation, the same, so you have to present something as you would present it in your military base. Speaking, of course, speaking to either the person who is giving you the exam, or to your counterpart. If you're sitting, if two people go into a speaking exam, you know, you have to speak to each other, ask each other questions or answer each other questions. Or you have to speak about a certain topic. The more you speak, the more vocabulary you use, the more diverse vocabulary there is, the better, because you don't have afterwards any kind of single problems like the examiner asking you more and more questions. That shows only that you didn't do so well on the way. So we had reading, of course, if you can read the text, understand it and answer the questions. So we had reading, writing, speaking. You've got the listening as well, so there will be a kind of task played through the CD. You have to listen to it, answer the questions as well. So basically nothing to be scared of, like any single other exam. You had the same kind of exam as well in Polish when you passed your maturity exam. Only it was in Polish. So it's basically the same thing. You only have to do it in another language. Try to get on the webpage of our military English facility that's based in Łódź. From what I remember, it's WSNJO or something like that, MIL PL, or you just have to write it down in the Google search box, and you have various sort of exams from past years on every single level of English, so from 1 to 4. Download it, look it up, and basically just practice it. That's it. So as for the short introductory episode, I think this will be it. We'll see ourselves, we'll try to see ourselves twice a week or maybe once a week, depending on how the upload on YouTube goes. If you have any questions, you can always ask us on our Facebook profile, Klub Centrum, or privately to me on Wojciech Osypiuk. On the next episode we'll try to do a bit of things from the exams from level 1 to 4, basically in terms of speaking. So all the topics that can be on the exam from level 1 to 4. So hope you have a good day or a good weekend if we don't see ourselves before the weekend. Stay safe, avoid people as such at the moment, unfortunately, and all the best. Stay in good health and see ourselves next time. See ya!